6.3, proportions, page number 463, please. In the middle of the page, they give us a definition of a proportion, and that definition is a statement that two ratios are equal is called a proportion. So, if we have 1/2 equals 2/4, those ratios are equal. So they make a proportion. And one of the things that you'll notice when it comes to a proportion is if we were to take these numbers and compare them to these numbers, if we multiply, you will get the same answer. 1 times 4 equals 2 times 2. That comes really handy, and later on we'll see how handy that is, but basically called cross multiplying because we're multiplying across and across. And just to give you a little bit of vocabulary here, these numbers here, the bottom one here and the top one here, are called the means, and extremes are the other numbers. So the top number here and the bottom number here are called extremes. So if we multiply the extremes and multiply the means, they will always, in every single situation, be equal to each other. So let's look at some examples that they give us as far as how to do these. Because sometimes they give us a ratio of 2 to 3, and then they give us another ratio that we know is going to be equal, but maybe we don't know this number, and they give us x. So what we're trying to do is solve for x there, and we do that cross multiplication that I had put up here earlier, where we take the extremes and the means and multiply them by each other. So that being the case, we end up with 2x equals 12. Remember, 2 times x, we can write it as just 2x. We don't need the multiplication sign in there or anything. And then we just solve for my x. So now, this ratio and this ratio are equals. 2/3 is the same thing as 4/6. And there's some real life situations that you'll use this in. And, well, let me just give you just a real quick example. Let's say that you make $12 per hour, and you want to figure out how much money you're going to make in 65 hours. So this is what you're looking for, x. So it's the ratio is the same. If you make $12 in an hour, you're going to make a certain amount in 65 hours that has to do with that 12. Well, you multiply these together, and solve for x, and you'll find out how much you'll make in 65 hours. So that's just a real quick example, and we'll get into some more examples on how those are used later, but sometimes it's good just to see when in the world you're ever going to use that. So let's keep going with some examples here. 6.3, let's look at example 4 on page 465. 5/y equals 10/13. So we're going to multiply our extremes by our means. So y times 10 is 10y, and that will equal 5 times 13, which will be 65. Divide by 10, divide by 10. Y equals 65/10, but that can be reduced, of course, and 65 divided by 10 is 6.5, so that's what my y is. So that's pretty much it for this lesson. Let's do an example, though, on page 466. We've got some fractions there that always seem to give people a headache, so what they're giving us is just basically solve for x. They're giving us the fraction 2/3, and that's over 5. And they're saying that that's going to equal x/6. So we're going to do our cross multiplication again. That and that. So we're going to get 5x equals 2/3 times 6, which gives us 5x equals 12/3, which gives us 5x equals 4. We divide by 5, and we get 4/5 as an answer there. So, a little bit quick, but it's all old stuff that you've done before. Let's do example 7 here. B over 15 equals 2. Well, I don't have a number to multiply my b times. Well, 2 is actually 2 over 1. So now I've got 1 times b equals 15 times 2, and my b is 30. So, not much there. Let's look at a couple of examples on this same video here, and that'll save us from having to watch another one on the problems. If you want to go ahead and try the problems on your own without watching the rest of this, go ahead and shut down now. But if you want to watch as I do one similar to 23, might want to keep this on. I'm going to use x's just because I have a tendency to write everything as x's. Alright, so as far as this is concerned, it's saying multiply our means and our extremes, so we're going to multiply that times that. Alright, when I do that, I get 1/2 x equals 1/4 times 12, which is 1/2 x equals 12 over 4. And 1/2 x, 12 over 4 is the same as 3. We're going to divide by 1/2. And we get x equals, because those go away. 3 divided by 1/2 is the same as 3 times 2 over 1. And multiply the reciprocal, or invert multiply. And we get x equals 6 for our answer there. Okay, so that's 6.3. You ready for 6.4?